This video chart presentation to Ecoland International brought to you by allpennystocks.com. Ecoland is an OTC QB tier company trading under ticker ECIT. The stock just made a huge move back here in January from around a dime all the way up to $1.35. It surrendered a good portion of those gains, but it's pretty close to a support level. And on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week, it looks like it's trying to hold that support level. So we're going to take a quick look at this chart, identify those support levels, and see if some upward pressure comes where it might see some resistance. These lower indicators, let's take a look at, see if there's anything out of the ordinary going on. That big move, the MACD just absolutely took off. Retracing now, you always look for it, try and hold around that zero mark. Similar with the PPO. ADX, all three components right around 30. That's a pretty neutral reading. This 7 pulling well away from the 14 and 21. At this point, I certainly look for some sort of correction to happen. Accumulation distribution, of course, tapering off as well, but holding a pretty decent level. It didn't come diving way down here, make some newer lows. Something along those lines, that's what you want to continue to see. Shaking money flow still holding in the green. Over the last 20 periods, selling pressure still not overcoming buying pressure. CCI down low, I'd look for this to try and bounce off a negative 100. Full stow trying to make a rotation. Looks like some momentum could be trying to come back into the play, but still very early on. The indicator's in oversold territory. And the tricks, just not getting much from that. It is a lagging indicator that was registering up around 7. That's pretty high. It's going to have to retrace. One thing to note with the RSIs, just throw a quick line on here. Right through there, when these two longer term RSIs, the red and gold, the 14 and 21, when they start breaking back underneath 50, that becomes a little bit of a concern. You can see the price per share really fell off when they made the break. They are flattening out. What I'd look for here is a turn and rotation back through 50 to take on a little bit of bullishness. Now, of course, that all ties in with support and resistance levels. 50-day moving averages there, 200-day moving averages there. You'd like to see the price per share hold over top of those two key moving averages. They should also serve as some dynamic support and resistance, and that indeed does seem to tie in with the price per share, what it's been trying to do the latter part of last week. I will identify this as an area of support and resistance, but it certainly was a breakout point right around 45 cents. The stock has not been trading that long. That's why I scaled this into a 6-month chart. You can see back in October is when it really started trading pretty regularly. Volume, of course, spiked with the large move. In fact, right now that it's slipping below that breakout point, that's classic TA. It's a resistance point. When it's broken, you want to see it become support. And it has slipped slightly below it, but it is kind of puttering right around that line. So now I'd look for it to try and push back through it, or see if it's going to identify itself again as a strong resistance point by just trending right below that 45 cent mark right now. On a little bit lower support side of it, right there around 30 cents should be some more support. Again, we're tying in with the 200-day moving average, which is registering a 33. If this stock does continue to drop a little bit lower, can't hold that 200-day, really starts putting some pressure on that 30-cent mark, there's not a lot of support left in sight till all the way back down to 20 cents, and certainly lower at 15 than the old bottom at 10. So for those sort of reasons, this becomes pretty important for this to try and hold this area, make a rotation, and push back upward. There's still a little bit of a gap left open from around 61 to 64 cents, which ties in with that area being a breakout point. Again, when it made this strong move, a little bit of a flag over a couple days, and then took off, went to make new highs. So that'd be the first spot I'd look for it to meet a little bit of resistance as it tries to fill that gap if some upward movement happens. But then again, I wouldn't look until all the way up here to try and make some old highs. It's a pretty interesting chart. You can see volume is certainly tapering off. 630,000 shares traded. That's still pretty decent liquidity. But I'd look at this volume tapering off as hope for the selling pressure subsiding. Now I'd want to see the volume start to turn back upward and see if this stock can take on some upward pressure, because the indicators have certainly retraced plenty far to allow certain things like that to happen. So when it comes right down to it with this chart, I have my eye on this 45 cent mark, 30 cent mark, and 65 cent mark. Technically speaking, those are three areas I believe are pretty key to this chart. And I'd be watching for the price performance at those key levels. But as always, this is merely my interpretation of the Ecoland International chart. I'm not a financial consultant and strongly encourage you to do your own proper due diligence. Consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Please visit the allpennystocks.com website. View the full disclaimer disclosure. I do not base any investment decisions on any material found on the website and/or this video chart. No person employed by All Penny Stocks is a registered investment advisor or licensed broker-dealer. Thank you for watching. Trade smart.